Welcome, everyone. And we're so excited for another episode of our Future of Climate Action series. And today we're doing our Hands Across the Globe, where we get to speak with and hear from two amazing women change makers. Beverly Grant is here in Denver, Colorado, and is the founder of Mo Better Green. And Halima Imam is in Nigeria, and she's the founder of the Climate Action Team Initiative. We're going to hear from them in just a minute. But before we do, Jen is going to give us a little bit of background intro.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming and joining us again for our Future of Climate Action series. During the series, we're going to be interviewing people who past challengers of the Climate Action Challenge, as well as different environmental leaders, in order to paint a picture of the future of climate action and the future of Green Team Academy. So as you come in, please introduce yourself, give us a little background on how you're connected with Green Team Academy and where you're coming from. I know we have pretty diverse groups, so it's always fun to see where everybody's joining in from. I am Jin, and joined by Joan. We are the co-directors of Green Team Academy, which is an organization that's on a mission to empower everyday people to be the change. And we do this through our International Climate Action Challenge, where we help guide teams through the best practices of launching their environmental projects so that they can show up as leaders in their community. Today, as Joan said a little bit ago, like literally a minute and a half ago, we're going to be joined by Beverly Grant, who is the founder of Mo Better Green, and Halima Imam, who is the founder of Climate Action Team Initiative in Nigeria. Really excited to hear from these women on the fascinating work that they're doing. And then afterwards, we'll be having an open discussion where we'll just get to chat and learn about each other a little bit better. So this series is part of a fundraiser that we're doing that will help us to host the 2024 International Climate Action Challenge. So if you are able to support, that is amazing. Every $25 donation will get a tree planted in Uganda, and you get to know that you're helping empower people from around the world make a change for the planet. So these Future of Climate Action Challenge sessions will be happening straight through December 7th, every Thursday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. There is a time change taking place on Sunday. So please just make sure that you adjust for your time zone accordingly. And then the ultimate purpose of this series is to better engage with you all. We want to be able to tell Green Team Academy stories through our challenger experience and through our network. We're building our portfolio and getting input from different experts and community members so that we can better show up and create the future of climate action, with Green Team Academy being a major part of that. So thank you for joining us today and being a part of the change that we need so badly in the world. And without further ado, I will pass it back to Joan so that we can hear from Beverly and Halima.
All right. So thanks for doing that introduction, Jen. And as I'm seeing in the chat here, we've got folks from Togo and Malawi, Uganda, and of course, Nan in Champaign, Illinois, in addition to those of us in Denver. So this is always the best part of my week, to be in community with folks like you from around the world. So thanks so much for being here today. So I want to start with Halima and then Beverly, and just asking the question of, how did you hear about Green Team Academy, and how did we first get connected?
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me on the call. So my name is Halima Imam, like I've been introduced already. And yes, I heard about Green Team Academy in 2020, and it was through a friend. We were doing a tree planting project together, and he told me about the International Climate Action Challenge. And then I had contacted John, and we had a Zoom meeting like this. We talked a lot about all of the things that I and my team do for the environment. We talked about my Befriend a Tree initiative as at then. It was in the peak of COVID-19, and we just wanted to do something different. And my team members are mostly children, by the way, they are girls. And then what we did was not just make people plant trees, we wanted them to somehow be connected to the trees they were planting. The initiative was termed Befriend a Tree, And what we were doing was that we're gifting out seedlings, trees to people to plant in their homes. And it was just random people, not people that we knew. Yeah, basically, it was a really fun thing when it seemed like the whole world was coming to an end and everyone was just panicking and going through anxiety and all of that because of the lockdown and COVID-19. Basically, that's it. That's how I met Joan. And she was so excited about our project. She even wrote about us in her book, the book she was writing then. And yes, we've been doing that. And even very recently in the rainy season here in Nigeria, we planted trees in different communities under the Befriend the Tree initiative. So what we do is that we tell people to name the plants once we give it to them. We want them to be connected to them, want them to make friends. So once we give it to you, we tell you, name your plants, we're giving you a new friend. And then, yeah, people name them. I know we're always connected to our friends. We want to take care of our friends. So we believe that these people always take care of their plants. And we go back to check, by the way, we go back to check if they're being well taken care of in some of the communities we have planted. And yes, some of them have grown way taller than me, doing very well, looking really lovely. Basically, that's it about a befriended tree and how I met John.
Yeah, that is such a wonderful story. Halima also signed up as a mentor for the first Climate Action Challenge that we hosted, which was really terrific. I think also that you had ordered something like 500 trees, and because of lockdown, you weren't able to gather and do the tree plantings, as you said. It's a great example of how when we see something that we think is like a really big problem, that it can often be transmuted into this wonderful thing, the idea of befriending a tree and going door to door and saying, do you need a friend? And then name this tree and checking up on them later. Who knows, that might be even better than what your original plan was. I wanted to mention too that as both Beverly and Halima have done so much, there's no way that we could cover all of it, but we did decide for this to focus on youth empowerment and food justice. And there's no one better to talk about all of those things than my buddy, my idol, Beverly Grant. So Beverly, do you want to say hi and just mention a little bit about how we first got connected?
For sure. Thank you, Joan, for having me. First, I wanted to say, Halima, I really love what you're doing, especially the befriend part, because in my work, I like to make people connected to plants, trees, and I say trees are ancestors. Some of the work that I've done, it's about helping people with grief. And so creating a connection to plant life, whether it's a tree or flowers, it could be food plant. It's important for us because part of our origin is from these plants, these trees, this earth. And we are connected and we're all natural born stewards. And that's what you are helping people remember, Halima, in your initiative. And the fact that you are using youth is important because youth start taking action now to be the leaders of tomorrow. And to be honest, this is how Joan and I met because she's a Facebook lurker, LOL. And so we literally met through Facebook. Joan sent me a message, you all, and she was describing her first climate action event, and she was doing this online. This is way before COVID was even known was gonna come upon us, you all. And so she did this virtual Earth Week summit where she literally connected people from everywhere she could to speak about how their work connects to Earth stewardship. In my particular case, farming is the largest way that my work connects. Then also service to people. When you seek to serve the people that have the least in your community, then you're making an impact for the better for everyone. And so these were the things that brought Joan and I together. And once we connected, we just stayed connected.
I did. It wasn't just lurking on Facebook. I actually stalked you because I read an article in a local community newspaper And I was like, who is this woman that is starting farmers markets in North Denver and doing all these things? And yeah, so thank you, Facebook, that I was able to find her.
I
And
think Facebook too.
I don't usually. So this is good. All right, terrific. Okay, so thank you both for catching us up on how we met. And let's turn back to Halima. So, Halima, can you talk a little bit about why you're focusing on youth? I know that you're a teacher and that you started the Climate Action Team initiative as an NGO. I wanted to just hear a little bit about that. And since this is the future of climate action, we're wanting to know your opinion of why you're doing it. And that's also going to be inspiring other people to work with youth. So, why is that a focus for you?
Okay, I believe that in our youth, when we're very agile, when we have energy, when we're most useful in life, and then secondly, we have a very large youth population here in Nigeria. I think we have one of the largest in the world. So then it's always enjoyable to work with the young minds, because what I try to do all the time is to mentor these people to see that our world is different. It's said that we should be the change we want to see in the world. So I think that's my own way of bringing young people together like myself and making sure that we start this early. Now, yeah, basically, that's my ultimate goal, to make sure that we learn now and then we don't ever forget about it. We start really early. And I strongly believe that whatever you learn in your youth is what you would never forget. It's like putting a mark on a stone. You're never going to forget it, and you're just going to grow with it. Unlike trying to make older adults start something that they never believed in, or trying to bring an ideology that is different for them. And nature is always therapeutic for me. And it is, I believe that we all deserve a future that we can live in. Climate change is the focus for me, and alongside a few other social issues, but it's always climate change in the forefront for me. And that's basically why I prefer youth. And yeah, I've been doing it since then.
And when did you start your Climate Action Team initiative?
And then I also institutionalized it in my school. I made sure that a lot of people that I work with are students of mine. And then we also do it as, now we do it as a continuous thing in the classroom, because there's a life skills subject that I teach. So it's part of what I teach them to become a life skill. When we go there, we do this planting ourselves. And then I teach in an elite school. So a lot of these kids don't get to do these things ever in their homes. But then when we go to these communities and we begin to dig and we're planting the trees, oftentimes I tell them how to do it and how to take care of the plants, and it be really soft and gentle. And a lot of them learn empathy from there too. So yeah, basically, it's always fulfilling. It's always a fun thing for them. They're always so happy. So yeah, I'm happy I work with the youth. It's a really nice feeling.
Halima, you are being the teacher that maybe that a lot of us needed or wanted when we were coming through. So the fact that you're talking about life skills and those broader things like empathy and the therapeutic nature of nature and understanding about climate change and how to be a leader in that's fantastic. So thank you. So let's hop over to Beverly. So Beverly, I know you do a lot with youth. Why, tell us a little bit about your experience working with youth, and why is that a focus for you?
Pretty much because youth are transformative. They think in the now. And when you teach them the things that they don't know, because youth don't know what they don't know, they need mentors, they really thrive. And Halima talked about some important things. For example, life skills building. I'm doing the same thing through my work. And our connection, again, to environmental stewardship is through food production. We do talk about planting trees, and we talk about how, you know, hunger really and food it should be the number one priority across the world, and that we have more power than we realize to turn this problem around. And the more of us that know how to connect with the earth, how to recognize wild foods that just grow all around us that we've lost connection from, to learn about the history of the food that grows locally wherever you live on the planet, to build that, to rebuild that relationship. In doing that, you are reconnecting to the internal knowledge that you're naturally born with from your ancestors. You're healing the earth, and you're also doing what Halima said, creating the place that you want to live in, a beautiful place where, abundance is what you see and not anything else. And so, working with youth, you are ensuring that this becomes a part of the future because it's a part of how they think. It's a part of, like Halima said, their life skills, their mental and their emotional capabilities are stronger because of these relationships that they're building. And seeing youth get excited about taking care of their environment, taking care of themselves, taking care of their community, there's nothing better than that. Thank you.
And I think, Beverly, you found so many interesting ways to work with youth, with the internships and the kids that are involved with maybe the criminal justice system. And
Yeah,
you found different ways for kids to make money and to have responsibilities. You're not just going in and teaching. It's a really participatory way.
I also want it to be empowering to them so that way whatever they think that they would like to do in the world or change in the world, they absolutely can do it. And I tell them that we're all born with the power of change within our being. That's our personal power of one. And when they see us putting that to work and we be a positive, important guide in their lives to teach them to take their power of one and use it for better of the climate or better in our food system or social issues like also Halima touched on. There are three things that my work focuses on, you all. It's environmental stewardship, social responsibility, and food literacy, because I feel that focusing on those three things gives us a foundation and a platform for dealing with environment and the social issues, economic issues, etc., systematic issues.
Okay, I want to come back to some of the things that you just mentioned about the food literacy in particular, but I want to hop over to Halima. And Halima, I know that one of the things that you do with your students is a monthly meal for those who may not have enough food. So I'm just curious to hear a little bit more about that and why that focus.
Okay, so that's called One Meal for Everyone campaign. The truth is, a lot of people don't have food, and there's a high level of poverty, and people are very food insecure. So then, what we do is we try as much as we can to give out food, both cooked food and raw food, to people, so that they're able to at least have a meal for a day. It's an initiative that I and my students have been part of for a while now. What we do is that we give out foods on the streets. So we just give them to random people and people that we know might not get any form of help throughout the day. We also go to internally displaced people's clan and then we give out this food. So One Meal for Everyone campaign has been on. And oftentimes when we go out to give out, distribute this food and all of that, a lot of them say, we didn't know there was this level of hunger out there and all of that. And one day a parent called me up and she said, thank you for what you do with our children. And I was taken aback a bit, like, what do I do with your children and why thank me? And she said, before now, my daughter didn't used to appreciate food. she will just maybe eat whatever it is she wanted to eat and then just maybe eat it halfway and then just dump the rest in the dustbin or something. But now she really appreciates food. Like she sees it like it's something that she's very grateful for. So yeah, basically that's it about one meal for everyone. It's an initiative that we give out cooked food and raw food to people. We also give to school children from other schools. And then we do it on the streets and in IDP camps. That's a camp for internally displaced persons. And yeah, the children are so excited about it and they always want to do it. A lot of them, and when next are we going to go and give out food to people? They are now understand the fact that a lot of people are hungry and a lot of people are even food insecure because some of these places we go to are places that are not very accessible. So basically, that's it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's so interesting too, the idea that hunger and the conditions that different people are living in is so hidden. The first step is the awareness of this is what's actually happening and how can we address it. And so with that, Beverly, I'd like to hop back to what some of the things that you were doing and the idea of abundance and food literacy. And it really is, you really are talking about changing the whole paradigm of how we see food, because if we are counting on corporations to provide us with nutritious food, that might be a long journey. But if we just want to sprout some seeds in our kitchen, or if we see something on our walk that is edible or medicinal, then we do live in a world of abundance rather than in an unjust world. So I'm curious to hear more about your perspective, the food literacy that you were talking about as a foundation for your work.
Thank you. Food literacy is an education about food from its origin to its actual consumption. And because poverty, widespread hunger are issues here in America, as Halima was speaking about, this is what changed my work and my approaches to work, because you do have to be able to answer people's hunger right now and then help them to educate around how they can change some of their ways, their lifestyles for the longer game. And it does require having fresh and raw and cooked foods on hand to help people get over those humps, and doing it every single place that you can. Now, one person can only do so much, right? My approach was leverage my farmers markets that I have weekly to be a connection point for food, but to also be like a distribution point for people that, even families or individuals that may not have food, I can get them connected to pantries and other programs right there on the spot to help address that. But then there are other issues. There's people without enough food. There are people that don't have places to live and they're literally living on the street and just out there with nothing, and seeking to provide resources to them. See, this is another context of environment. Now, environment in the city, you're going to see these kind of conditions of people living on the street, people starving to death, people without work, people not having access to education. There's going to be all of these things that exist. And so when we are environmentalists in a city, then these are other conditions that we got to take on. See, that's environmental work as well. That is climate change as well. People don't realize that. And that public health and environment are linked together. Our natural world is suffering just right along with the human world. And when we learn to take care of both in a better way, that's what's happening. That's what I'm hearing from what Halima is doing by planting these seeds in the young people, but showing them through action, not just talking to them, taking them where it is, letting them be the difference that they can be in that moment and learn. And then This is why parents come to her. They come to me and say, I do see a difference in my child. My child has developed more awareness. My child is taking action to do things here in our neighborhood and becoming leaders. And there's a statement that I believe that says the problem is the solution. And so when we bring the children into and let them see what the problems are, it does help them to spark solutions.
Yeah. And the other thing I always think about, like when you plant a seed and it becomes a plant or it becomes a huge tree, that is the miracle that keeps reminding us that massive transformation is possible. And it's not only possible, but it's just happening all around us. I do think that our minds and our institutions and everything get fixed in this way that nature is not demonstrating at all. The clouds are floating above, the sky color is changing, like massive things are changing every day around us. And so working with youth and focusing on something as basic as food that it applies to all of us is a way to really engage. So my last question, and I'll start with Halima. My last question is a little bit about, maybe a lot about what Green Team Academy does and how we run the International Climate Action Challenge, and we're also looking into this idea of being more of an academy that's more accessible for people around the world in different formats, not only our annual International Climate Action Challenge. So my question for you, Halima, is what would you like to see Green Team Academy do? And just anyone who's listening to this interview, what is the message that you would like to see more people engage in going forward based on what your experience has been with youth and seeing the things that you're seeing in your communities in Nigeria and as you talk to people around the world?
Really, Green Team Academy is doing a great job, and I was very happy to be a part of the team in 2020. I was a mentor then, and it was a very good experience for me. But then basically, I would like more of leadership trainings for people around the world and maybe a bit of expansion to Africa, to different countries in Africa, because climate change has the worst effect in this part of the world. I would want an expansion. I would want maybe some of your physical offices in different countries in Africa, because it gives us a sense of belonging when we know that there's something physically happening on the ground here. A yearly leadership training would be incredible. Let's have climate leaders from the Green Team Academy, and for people to become leaders in their own communities, being trained by your organization. And then I would really love that. I would want that to happen.
I know of one teacher right now that could help us train people. You have so many skills in this area. So many people really do not get how much of the carbon emissions, the plastic pollution, so many different things, food, the corporatization of food that really originated in the more affluent countries like where I was born here in the US, and how big of an impact it has in Africa, in the ocean front communities, and the inequity of that. And so I love the idea of us partnering to get more leaders on the ground. So thank you for that insight. And how about you, Beverly? What kinds of things would you like to see going forward, knowing a little bit about what we do in our community and some of the stuff that we have and ways that we could make a bigger impact, or that just anybody listening could make a bigger impact?
One thing I like is collaboration. So, for example, people on this call that work with youth, you should partner together with other entities to start bringing all those youth together, because youth have a way of connecting with and amongst themselves that if we can just facilitate that, That deepens their knowledge share. It also creates inspiration for them to see that, oh, there's a lot of people that think like me. We could all do this work together. And the way that I try to personally do that is through working through lots of schools here locally for all ages, from literally kindergarten through college age, all across. Also, engaging when I can and bringing seniors in because seniors have so much knowledge to share with young people. And sometimes there's not enough connection between young people and seniors for the knowledge share and the mentoring that can be provided. I like to employ youth. I like to connect youth to experiences where they can learn new skills or do things like camp. Like they've never camped or been in the wilderness, they've only been in the city, never been to the mountains, never fished or anything, because we know someone connected to everything by the time you think about it. So when you start bringing those connections together in a manner where the youth may start here at this point and learn this, and when a whole year has passed through the connections and what you have to offer, you're touching that organization's youth, and your youth is touching that organization's staff and people. And so it begins to spread the wealth of knowledge that we have, which is important to do as well.
Yeah, that is so true that when there's just something magical, I think it might be also mathematical, but there's definitely something magical about connecting with people that you just tend to find the exact resources that you need. And I think that especially after COVID, teachers that I've talked to have said that the kids are still they're still repairing from that time. And I think a big thing that they're repairing is those connections with fellow students, with their communities, with different generations, because all those were fractured during that time. So probably in this point in history, this idea of getting youth out there with other generations and other youth and doing something meaningful and connecting to nature, I think that is probably more important now than ever. All right. Thank you so much, Halima and Beverly, for giving us a glimpse of the amazing work that you're doing. And I'm going to let Jen pop in, and then we'll wrap this up. And then anybody that's on here live will stay on for a discussion.
I just want to say thank you both so, so much. I am blown away at all of the amazing work that you're doing with the youth and the food security. And it's absolutely amazing to have such strong women from so far away across the globe doing such incredible work. Thank you for joining us today and being a part of our session. It's very appreciated.
Yes, indeed. All right. Halima, do you want to sign off? And where would be the best way for people to connect with you, Halima, going forward?
Yeah, I'm not very social media savvy, but then I am active on Twitter and then LinkedIn too, a bit. I'm not active on Facebook at all. And then Instagram too is also a really no-go area for me. But Twitter, LinkedIn, yeah, I am active in both places. And then whoever wants to connect with me could do that. My handle on Twitter at Sadi_Imam. And then on Instagram is just Meet Halima. So yes. And then there's right now, I am also, because I do some other things too, right now I'm working with a group of 30 girls, and then we're doing cancer advocacy. So whoever is willing and really open to collaborate with us, our arms are open and we're going to welcome you. So we've organized conferences, and then we've been to hospitals, oncology departments, we've talked to one or two cancer patients. It's been quite an experience for me personally, and especially for the girls, and we've learned a lot. So I'm quite open to collaboration on these things. I'm also a mental health advocate because I work with teenagers a lot, and a whole lot of them have very serious mental health issues. So yes, however way you would like to collaborate, I am open to collaborations, and I'm active on Twitter and LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I'm Halima Imam.
We'll put that info in the notes here as well when we post this on YouTube. So thank you so much, Halima, for joining us. And I love how that confirms or states in another way what you were saying, Beverly, about how public health and environmental health, social, emotional, it's all, I think, one ball, and you can pull the string anywhere and make a positive impact. So would you like to sign us off here?
First, Joan, thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this. And I'm so proud of all you're doing. And I definitely want to collaborate with you, because what I desire is to be able to connect whatever youth I'm working with this summer to what the work you're doing, for them to see and understand what you're doing over there, and for them to talk to you about what you're doing. Because I feel like this, you can inspire anybody. And since we can do this over Zoom, you can meet all kind of kids. We just have to plan it. And for them to hear your kids speak about the things that they're learning and doing, because I promise you, everything you're dealing with over there, I'm dealing with over here. Okay? And we're out there to serve our communities. I think it blesses the kids when they can see the same work they're doing being done halfway around the world by somebody that looks like them.
Amen. And I love too that you have different parts of the solutions too, like some of the work that Halima is doing, helping people see the hunger and the need, and then growing food. And I think you guys are fitting together, and we all do, where the gap that one person has, somebody else has the solution, and they're trying to tell people, hey, do this. It's just such a wonderful synchronous connection. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much to Jen, my co-director here. We're having so much fun finding lovely people like Halima Imam in Abuja, Nigeria. She's the founder of the Climate Action Team Initiative, and Beverly Grant in Denver, Colorado, founder of Mo Better Green. And I know that if you search for Mo Better Green, you'll find them on Facebook and on Instagram, and as Beverly Grant on LinkedIn. So thanks, everybody, and we hope to see you next week for another episode of the Future of Climate Action.